Hello and happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Mr. G's Weather Channel. My name is Mr. G. I am your meteorologist today on this Monday afternoon. I hope you guys are having a great day. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about your weather forecast for this upcoming week, as well as the return of some severe weather to parts of the central U.S. as well. And the tropical threat will potentially be with us once again. We're going to talk about the tropics. Take a look at what could happen this week that could introduce tropical activity again to threaten the mainland of the U.S. across the southeast and along the Gulf Coast. So we're going to be looking at activities there, and we're going to also be talking about what your 2024-2025 winter could be looking like, as well as we do have a weak La Nina in place that is currently developing right now. Remember, last winter we had a very strong El Nino, and that made for a rather wonderful winter here across the upper Midwest in Minnesota. I'll tell you, it was a winter I will never forget, where we only had like maybe 14 inches of snow across the entire winter. And by the time we hit February, March, it was all gone. There was no snow to melt. So we were in a wonderful position, a wonderful spring. It wasn't too cold. It was great. So, but again, it's going to be Minnesota this year. It's going to feel like Minnesota again this winter. So back to the cold, above average snow again. So we're going to be talking about that just a bit as we move through our video. So now let's go to our very first map here, and this is going to be about the tropics. So as we look at the potential for tropical activities this week, we do see the potential that if anything happens, it's going to hit the southeast Florida, as well as the eastern edge sides of the Florida Panhandle. But the western sides over to Texas and Mexico possibly have a very low chance, so not likely to affect the western Gulf of Mexico and Texas. But the eastern side of the Gulf of Mexico and the southeast coast on the Atlantic side have a higher probability of potentially having a tropical impacts this week. So we are going to be seeing, well, we could see some tropical development here. We have a gyre down here across the southern Caribbean Sea and over here in the Atlantic. So we could see some tropical development off the coast of Central America, so Nicaragua, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Costa Rica, not Costa Mesa. Costa Mesa is in Southern California. So we have the potential that if anything develops, it could take a northerly track and go across Cuba and the Dominican Republic and Haiti. So it could go this way into the Atlantic towards Bermuda, and possibly towards the eastern coast of the United States. That's the potential, but I think this is probably likely that's going to go northeast out to sea. But we also have the potential that it could go westward into Central America or the Yucatan. So that is another possibility, that if something develops this week in our main development area here. So we have our main development area across this region. So that's some of the possibilities that could occur with any tropical development. Let me make sure I'm further into the picture. I'm standing outside. So again, here is our area as we use our Fox weather maps here. And you can see that potential for development across the Caribbean Sea and the Central America here. We have that potential where we can see some tropical development, 40% chance over the next 7 days. And this is our potential development area here. So we're going to keep an eye on that region, and we can see our area to watch. And then we have also a nice high pressure over the North Atlantic, north of Africa. And we also have action coming off the coast of Africa. We have this tropical wave here, but I don't expect anything to happen with this as it makes its way across, potentially as it gets closer to this region, maybe. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, but we're definitely watching this little region right here as our most likely potential to develop area. And then we're going to be seeing nice weather across the eastern United States after a little bit of a cool start to your day. So a little bit chilly this morning from Boston down to New York City and Washington. Portland, Maine as well, going to be a little bit chilly, but warmer air, warmer, dry, and mild conditions are going to be coming at you from the west for your Tuesday. But for you today, on Monday, we'll be still a little bit chilly parts of the way in the East Coast along the Atlantic shoreline there. We're going to see it still a little bit on the chilly side with those temperatures in the 50s and 60s for your afternoon highs in New England, but those morning lows in the 30s and 40s. But as you move into your Tuesday, and Wednesday, you get to your midweek, high pressure along the mid-Atlantic coastline will bring some warmer weather from the southwest and over the mainland of the U.S. So from the Gulf Coast and the deep south, we will see warmer weather coming up from Texas, like around Dallas, maybe in Springfield, Missouri, and Arkansas. So warmer temperature coming from the deep south toward the northeast and the eastern Great Lakes. So we will see those temperatures go above average. So temperatures above about up to 25 degrees above historical averages across the Northeast and into New England, especially as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So as we head into your Halloween, some of you folks will have a very nice, very warm evening to go out trick-or-treating or Halloween parties for the kids, or even for the adults for that matter. We're going to be saying it's not just for kids to celebrate Halloween. So very nice weather across the east as we head into the Halloween days in the beginning of the month of November. Again, we're going to see that warmth building in across the east, but we see some severe weather and rain that's going to be coming across the central U.S. So from the Gulf Coast of Texas up through the Central Plains into parts of the Mississippi River Valley, so Missouri, Arkansas, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota. We're going to see that potential for some severe thunderstorms, especially as we get to Tuesday. We're going to be seeing some severe thunderstorms and then some showers moving across the upper Midwest, the northern plains, so Minnesota, North and South Dakota. And it's going to be cool weather and dry weather beginning to move into the northern Rockies. We're going to see some snow down across the central Rockies. So Denver could see some snow down through Wyoming, Colorado, and to Utah, eastern Utah. But cool and dry conditions across the southern plains of West Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Southern California as well. So we're going to finally really lose that desert heat as we see cool and dry, but very windy conditions. It's going to get very windy with all of this drier air moving in, and that's going to lead to an increase in fire potential. So critical fire weather will expand across the west and into the central plains, especially behind our storm system that's going to be bringing that severe weather threat to the central and southern plains and into parts of the Midwest. So get ready for drier weather and very windy weather on the backside as it starts to really feel like November out there. And then we have some critical fire weather, but we're going to see that snow across the Rockies and in the mountains there over Wyoming and Colorado, and maybe even some snow through parts of the plain states. So parts of maybe North and South Dakota might pick up their first snowfall of the season, and maybe even western Nebraska, we could see some snow across those higher plains, the high plains of Colorado and Wyoming. So I-80, I-70, watch for windy and snowy conditions as we move through the midpoint of the week. And we're going to see that nice pattern shift as we have some moisture coming up off of the Gulf of Mexico. So that Gulf of Mexico is reopening, and we have high pressure over the southeast, and that's going to make for a southerly flow up off of the Gulf of Mexico, which is going to bring that moisture in. So we're going to see that moisture lead to some much needed rainfall across the deep south, the mid-south, and the Tennessee Valley, the Missouri Valley, the Ohio Valley, and the Illinois Valley up to Ohio and Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, all of you across the upper Midwest and the Midwest will see the potential for some showers, and we got some severe weather. Tornadoes are going to be possible as we begin to enter into our second severe weather season of the year. So we typically see two bouts of severe weather, one in the early spring and then one in mid to late fall. We will see as it kind of does the opposite, because in the spring, what you're seeing is the winter weather retreating and the warmer spring, summer weather advancing. So that leads to severe weather in the spring and summer. But in the winter, you see the opposite. Now we're going to be seeing the fall and wintry weather advancing and the warm summer weather retreating. So what that is going to do is the exact opposite that we see in the spring, and we're going to see those severe thunderstorms potential in the mid to late fall that we see in mid to early to mid spring. So we see two rounds of severe weather. So here we are as we enter our fall severe weather season, but eventually that's going to transition to mostly snow events across the Midwest. So we're going to start to see snow storms and ice and freezing rain, very rainy situations, very cold weather is going to start to move in. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, cooler weather, but that cooler weather is only going to last a few weeks before we start to see wintry weather as we head through November. I don't like November because November is disgusting. November is very disgusting weather-wise. When November into December, I hate January. I like February because the weather can start to get a little bit more interesting and things like that. And you're gearing up for spring, so I like February. March is my favorite month, and April because it introduces the potential again for thunderstorms. We often see our first rumbles of thunder here in the Twin Cities. You can in March and April, definitely in May and June, but you can see the first vestiges of spring in late February and through the March and April especially. But mind you, we have some of our biggest snowstorms in February, March, and sometimes even into April. They can even happen into May. So Minnesota is has a very bad attitude weather-wise. Minnesota weather is wild and unpredictable as you get into spring. So in January, December, January is really cold. It's super cold. Alberta Clippers, we're not really getting the Colorado lows that really deliver our biggest snow, but we can see those Colorado lows in November, early December. But late December, like around Christmas and New Year's, is when it's really cold. That's when we really see the super negative temperatures. It's 30 below. New Year's Day is always one of the coldest days of the year, and we're going to see those temperatures really cold in possibly we can see those where daytime highs are in the negative zeros and negative single digits, but overnight lows could be in the minus teens or negative 20s. So we start to see that around New Year's through January, and then February maybe we'll see 20s return, some 30s over for daytime highs. And then in March, we'll start to see those 30s become more consistent, and then maybe some 40s might pop up as we get towards April. But I really hate that in Minnesota, how it goes, and it just stays so freaking cold. I don't like it. My wife loves it. I don't like it at all. I want to live in Florida or something. So, but anyway, here is that severe weather threat for the day. So we're going to see several rounds of rain and thunderstorms across the southern plains to the central plains, all the way up to the upper Midwest and the northern plains, up to Minnesota and Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, and maybe down to Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas. We are going to see those severe thunderstorms capable of producing some heavy rain, hail, gusty winds, and some tornadoes might even be possible. And here again is that severe weather threat that we're going to see tomorrow afternoon and evening. So tomorrow evening into tomorrow day, severe thunderstorms up to the peninsula of Michigan, Wisconsin, northwestern Wisconsin, eastern and southern Minnesota, western Iowa, eastern Nebraska, Kansas, maybe north central Oklahoma could see some severe thunderstorms tomorrow and tomorrow night. And then on Wednesday, that severe weather threat will shift a little bit further to the east. The upper peninsula of Michigan, severe thunderstorms across almost the entirety of Wisconsin, southeastern Minnesota, Winona, Red Wing, Austin, down to Rochester, maybe northwestern Illinois, much of eastern 3/4 of Iowa, Missouri, north central Arkansas, northeastern Oklahoma, Tulsa towards along I-44 up to St. Louis. So a pretty active couple of days ahead for us as far as severe weather for Tuesday and Wednesday. So mind you, I'm going to go live on both TikTok and YouTube should that severe weather break out tomorrow and Wednesday. I'm going to go live during those severe weather events both Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'm letting you all know to expect a live event tomorrow evening if those severe weather events come through, and on Wednesday as well. So be ready for those lives. And behind this this severe weather and some much needed rainfall for much of the plains and the Midwest, it's going to turn cold. We're going to see accumulating snow over Colorado, Wyoming, Missouri, Montana, and then down across Utah, maybe into parts of Idaho. And we're going to see some accumulating snow as we head through this week, early this week, and we're going to see much cooler weather down across the Pacific Northwest, through California, maybe even some snow possible in the Sierra Nevada. We're going to see some snow in the Cascades and the Olympic Mountains. But we're going to see very cool weather across northern Arizona, southern Utah, New Mexico, southern California. Very cool and windy. Also expected to be very, very windy because of that very strong jet stream energy moving through. And thinking of those winds, look at those winds from Arizona, Tucson, Las Vegas, all the way down through to Texas, El Paso, Dallas, New Mexico, Colorado. So the high plains of Colorado, Pueblo, Grand Junction, Denver, all the way out to Oklahoma City, Dallas, up to Des Moines, Minneapolis, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, northwestern Indiana. So the cities, Mishawaka, we have that Catholic University, South Bend. So South Bend, Mishawaka, Gresham, I don't know, all those little towns. My wife used to live in Indiana. She went to college there, so I can't remember all the little towns. You got Elkhart, all those. Elkhart's kind of a shithole, but but Indiana's crap. So anyway, all the way down through Missouri, Kansas City, so all over the plains in the upper Midwest, in the Great Lakes, we're going to see those winds possibly hit 40 to 60 miles per hour. So we're going to see a lot of fire weather advisories as we get through Wednesday. So those strong winds on the backside of that low pressure center and that advancing ridge of high pressure, that cold Canadian high coming down, that's going to make for a lot of wind advisories, and that's going to lead to very low humidities and dew points. So we're going to probably see a lot of critical fire weather advisories, red flag advisories across much of the Midwest and the central and southern plains as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. So I want to talk about our upcoming winter. And this year we have La Nina, which I really freaking hate La Nina. I love El Nino. El Nino is my buddy because it brings that warm weather in the summer. But it does kind of kill our thunderstorms in the summer. And I love thunderstorms. So we don't see as many thunderstorms here across Minneapolis. We saw a kind of a bit this year, but I think we have a more active jet stream across the north in the La Nina than we do in El Nino. So the northern jet stream is a lot more active. So a split jet stream coming into the Pacific Northwest and a big ridge over the west. It's typically the setup with La Nina during the winter months. And what that is going to do is make for very warm weather across the west. So Las Vegas, the desert Southwest, Texas, a lot of those places, we're not going to see really the cold break out. It'll be some cold. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that you're not going to experience some cold weather and maybe even some wintry weather. You will experience some, but a lot less with La Nina than you do during a normal winter or El Nino winters. But what that's going to do is make the Northwest, the Cascades. We're going to see a lot more ice and snow in the winter. More snow across the upper Midwest. So Minnesota, we're going to get that snow this year we didn't get last year. And we're looking at getting a little bit above average snow this winter. It is a weak to moderate La Nina, so I don't see us having a 3-year-long La Nina like we did the last one back in 2020, where it lasted like 2 or 3 winters. So, but not this year. I'm not going to be that strong of a La Nina, but we are going to see that snow we didn't see last winter. So get ready for the cold to come back to the north. So here are snow departures. We will see above average here across Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, again, Montana, Utah, northern Colorado, Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. In the mountains, we'll see above snow, and we'll see above average into the interior of New England, but below average here along the coast. So Washington, New York, we'll see slightly below average, very much below average across the Appalachians. Down to the south, not much in the way of having to worry about sleet and ice this winter, possibly. And then across the central Rockies, so New Mexico, northern Arizona, southern Utah, southern Colorado, Kansas, maybe New Mexico, Nebraska, northwestern Oklahoma. So you will see a little bit of a milder winter across the central and south. And then here's your ski season, a much better ski season for like northern Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, upstate New York, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire will have much better ski season. Upstate New York, maybe Michigan, definitely better across Wyoming, Montana, so Big Sky territory, the Pacific Northwest, Oregon and Washington, Idaho, Utah, Northern California, Northwestern Nevada, any ski resorts. So Truckee and you know, those areas will could have some much better snow for the skiers this winter. And then cooling heating demands. So we'll see lower demand for heating. So your lower utility bills will be great across these southern 2/3 of the country. But if you're in the Northwest, like the Pacific Northwest, the Northern Rockies, Northern Plains, maybe across Minnesota, Wisconsin, it's going to suck. You're going to spend a lot of money on heating costs this winter. So get ready for a cold winter and more heating costs. So again, here's your temperatures warmer than average here across the southeast and the mid south and the deep south, maybe into the northeast, but cooler than average across the northwestern 1/3 of the country. So Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, northern Utah, northern Nevada, northern California, all the way across the plains. So the upper plains are if you talk about areas like northwestern Minnesota, we're talking about eastern North Dakota, South Dakota, so toward the Minnesota and the Red River will be about average, mostly average, maybe slightly below average. It's tight like the election. So there we go. Here is our snowfall predictions for the 2024. And this is for Boston. You can see 30 to 40 inches of snow, where you only saw 9 inches last year. 7 inches in New York City, but this year you can see 20 to 25. Philadelphia, 15 to 20. You saw 11 last year. 16 in Pittsburgh. 28 to 36. Your averages, look, these are your averages in the middle, so you can check those out. You can see where you're going to fare this year. Buffalo, going to have a hell of a lot of snow because there will be a lot of lake effect snow events. So we're going to see a lot of lake effect snow. That is one of the things that La Nina really kicks up. It's lake effect snow. So get ready for that. That is your weather forecast for today. And a little bit of a look at your winter coming up. So that some of you it's going to suck, but for a lot of you it's going to be kind of great. So anyway, my name is Mr. G. This is Mr. G's Weather Channel. And you're going to watch this video on TikTok and on YouTube. So I'll see you in the next day. And tomorrow we'll go more in depth about the potential for severe weather and everything. And we'll get out my other map. We'll look at my WSV3 application. And we'll look at the 3D map and everything. So hopefully we can get together for that, and I will show that on a live video tomorrow as well. So until then, have a great day, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a great day or night. Bye-bye.